What's up, everyone? Welcome to another quite long overdue episode of The Spectrum Show. I'm your host, Spencer Mark. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Jackson Clyde and Sean Cabot. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Summer of Spectrum 2025.
That's right, Spencer, and our ladies, gentlemen, and NBs. Summer of Spectrum 2025 has officially begun, and we've decided to do it bigger and better than ever. That means more movie and television reviews, more gaming live streams, more event coverage, and of course, more exciting announcements.
But this first month of Summer of Spectrum is going to be a little different than last year's, because, well, specifically because we haven't covered April and May's content yet. So we're going to spend this first month's episodes recapping what happened during those past months, and in exchange for that, we'll be releasing multiple episodes in both July and August. So we got a lot to get through.
Yes, we do, in a very short amount of time, but that means multiple episodes in July and multiple episodes in August.
2 each.
Yep, presumably. That being said, this first episode of Summer of Spectrum will be recapping the content that came out in April. So that means The Amateur, Sinners, Daredevil Born Again Season 1, and the 20th anniversary re-release of Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. It's a review of Palooza unlike anything we've done on The Spectrum Show, and it all starts when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. We are the cast of The Spectrum Show, and it's time for our first Spectrum of Opinions for Summer of Spectrum. For this first discussion, we'll be reviewing 20th Century Studios' recent spy thriller, The Amateur. So, Sean, what are your Spectrum of Opinions on this film?
Aggressively, it's hard to muster up any strong emotions because there isn't really anything I'd say it does outstandingly wrong, but like...
Nothing outstandingly right either.
I mean, it's hard to even remember what happens in it. It's so unremarkable, really.
Wow, this actually might be the first time you've given a harsh review to something that we've both seen.
I don't, I'm not a guy who goes out of his way to be like hyperbolic and negative about stuff, but like, this was a movie I was legitimately having trouble staying awake during just because nothing interesting was happening, even though like this was like, a big revenge spy thriller type thing.
Yeah, so just for a simple kind of
recap,
because it's been a while since I've seen the film too. It's already June and this film came out in April. So basically, the film stars Rami Malek, who plays a FBI agent, right?
He's like an FBI information guy.
Yeah, an FBI information in
intel. Like he's not a field agent.
Yeah, and he and his wife, played by Rachel Brosnahan, who we'll see in Superman, she goes on it's a business trip, and she ends up getting killed in the process.
Yeah, by a bunch of terrorists.
Yeah,
mercenaries.
And the fact that the FBI wasn't doing their job allegedly, he basically, Raimi's character decides to take it into his own hands, and
he blackmails the FBI and like goes
on a revenge spree. And it's mostly, and considering he's not experienced, he doesn't really bring much fight skills. That's more Lawrence Fishburne's character.
Well, Lawrence Fishburne isn't really participating in the revenge. He's the guy who tries to get him to know how to kill, but he's not good at killing. Yeah. So he's like, "You're just not a killer, Charlie." And then turns out Charlie's really good at making pipe bombs. So
and working with like technical aspects.
Yeah.
So he does like.
So there's that, which might make for an interesting thriller if like the cool kills weren't almost all in the trailers.
Yeah, I mean, I think this trailer did give a lot of the information away, and I think that can really hurt a movie sometimes.
Like, okay, we really there's not a lot of interesting characters to work with. He has a contact who he like shacks up with, and but she's not really a particularly interesting character.
Yeah, not particularly intriguing per se, but I also know John Bernthal is also in this too, I think.
But like I'm not even really sure what he's doing there because he doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do much as far as I remember.
I mean, you asked what my spectrum of opinions are. What's your overall take?
Honestly, from when I saw the film, I thought it was fine. Nothing spectacular by any stretch, but it was fine. It wasn't like, didn't blow me away, but I was like, I can at least watch. It's at least watchable at the very least.
I mean, watchable like
very lightly watchable.
There's a YouTuber who like I really like quoting, who said something to the tune of, like, I don't know, I don't really, I feel like that's kind of, the quote is something along the lines of, oh, well, it's not hurting anybody. I would hope not. Like, your list of positives isn't great when it starts out with not a serial killer.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, that like everyone did a fine job of what they had. Honestly, I think.
Thank you, Demo, for that one. Anyway, I mean, like, the actors are doing fine, but like,
it's not going to hurt their careers by any stretch.
I mean, it's not going to hurt their careers. Like, this isn't a Pluto Nash or Tom Cruise's The Mummy. Well, then again, Tom Cruise survived that. Sophia Boutella, she took a while.
Yeah. Anyways,
I mean, visually, it's just kind of unremarkable, like very gray spy thriller stuff with some location shooting here and there.
Yeah.
The action isn't really particularly remarkable. The kills, like I said, most of the good ones are in the trailer.
Yeah. But there's nothing really truly remarkable happen in it, and that's kind of unfortunate because this is a good cast of people too.
I mean, for the
most part,
good cast can only really truly shine with good material. Like,
that is true.
You can get some transcendent performances out of like great material, and sometimes like a bad movie can just be elevated by someone giving it their all when it doesn't deserve it. But this is kind of in that uncanny valley middle ground where an actor can't save it.
Yeah, I guess that is a good way of putting it, but
I mean, like, I mentioned this to you a bit back, but like, this is like adapted from a Cold War thriller novel that also got a film adaptation in the 80s. Where
really?
half of the like deal and the tension was that after he blackmails the FBI early on to get them to give him training and a bunch of passports, and then they find out he was just bluffing, so they start going after him. But like in the old stuff that was
more accurate.
Well, it wasn't more accurate. It was the Cold War thing. Like he was like he was in Russia, trapped behind the Iron Curtain without any support as an American and a former FBI agent, and that's a bit of a more tense position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like just in concept, couldn't tell you how it was executed.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll check that out. Maybe I'll check that out.
I mean, that's an old book and an old movie.
Yeah, and this.
I think there was actually a cameo from one of the people, but it was
really?
like I barely even would have noticed it.
Yeah,
I think it was
barely
like the lady at the flower shop.
Oh, interesting. But yeah, honestly, like this doesn't remind me of the book in the slightest. And I haven't even read the book, honestly, but this feels very like separate from that, if that makes sense.
What you mean? This feels? Well, you just get the sense that this is a broad strokes adaptation.
Sure. Yeah. Like it just didn't like. It felt more modern than the original version.
I mean, obviously, it's contemporary. Like it's
exactly.
It's just present day like Earth.
Yeah. So there's no really reason to do it in the. I mean, I guess you could do it in the old time.
And for that matter, it's a revenge thriller that doesn't really seem to stake out like a satisfying position on revenge. Like you have like two angles when it comes to like revenge stories. Like they're not the only angles, but they're the big broad categories they fall into. You have your cycle of vengeance storylines where like the story is about tragedy, either tragedies brought on by vengeance or breaking it and thus achieving a satisfying conclusion because people have just like stopped killing one another. Or you have your cathartic revenge movies where it's just like you're not really supposed to super dive into like the ethics of this. You're just supposed to like be satisfied by it. I'm not really like this one tries to have its cake and eat it too by like alluding to the cycle of vengeance stuff, but also it tries to offer some measure of catharsis, and Rami Malek's character basically gets what he wants in the end anyways. So.
Yeah, but it's like they got the mix wrong, I think.
Yeah, no, like the mix like. And like that would be fine if it were going for some unique third thing, but it really does feel like they were trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, I guess that is a good way of putting it. And honestly, I think that's all we can really say about it.
Very unremarkable movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, if you want something, it could be like a popcorn flick at best. Like, cause
I don't even know about that because like the action isn't that thrilling. Like I could, I watched F1 recently, and that's just like a good version of the very standard thing it's trying to be. That's a popcorn movie.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm saying at best, not at worst.
Well, I mean, okay, like if you're looking for a spy thriller type thing that came out specifically this year to keep you occupied, just see Steven Soderbergh's Black Bag. If you want a good revenge thriller, watch Ballerina, which is a great popcorn flick and does have great action.
We'll be reviewing that later on in the month. So
Black Bag. I know we're not reviewing Black Bag, but that is a great movie.
Yeah. So it's kind of unfortunate that this.
That Regé-Jean Page.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate that this movie didn't get as much success as it should have.
It's a
great concept, but on paper, but it just didn't work.
I don't know. Like, I could give this anywhere from 1.5 stars out of 5 to 2.5 if I'm being generous. It feels like a 1.5, but objectively, it's probably more like a 2.5.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's fair. So I think we're ready to move on to our next film.
I think we're moving on to a TV show next.
Well, yeah, actually, that's true. That's cute. Let's do that. Yeah, we'll move on to our TV show next. So we're gonna take a quick moment to just get ready for our next segment, and until then, we'll see you in a minute.
See you in a minute. Welcome back, everyone. We're the cast of The Spectrum Show, and for our next Spectrum of Opinions discussion, we'll be discussing the recently completed first season of Marvel Television's revival series, Daredevil Born Again. Even though this Daredevil Born Again was adapted in Season 3 of the Netflix seasons, and this is an original story, mostly. So Spence, what are your opinions on Daredevil Born Again?
Honestly, I thought it was a solid show. It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it was definitely solid.
It's fine.
Really?
It's fine.
There was definitely a lot of good things going for it, and it just.
The actors, the actors are good. There's some episodes I like. I really like the bank one. I think
Episode 5?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the first couple of episodes and the last couple of episodes are pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Kind of in the middle, this stuff after the trial and with Muse is just it's fine.
Yeah, but mostly good though. Mostly good, let's say. But yeah, so why don't we talk about the story about this?
This is a revival, sort of a clean slate for Daredevil, for new viewers after the first 3 seasons, which were originally released on Netflix.
And are now on Disney+.
In this case, Matt Murdock has retired from being Daredevil after his friend Foggy Nelson was killed by Bullseye, and he nearly killed Bullseye in turn, and if you've watched Daredevil, you know that a good big part of it is that Matt often struggles with, how brutal the violence he participates in is, especially in regards to his, Catholic faith. And in the meantime, Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, has returned to New York after a sabbatical, I say sabbatical, but really you should just watch Echo to find out where he was.
Yeah, definitely watch that show and you'll get a better understanding.
And, if you want to know where he was before Echo, watch Hawkeye.
Yeah. So Hawkeye, Echo, then Daredevil Born Again.
You don't need to watch it. You just need to get that he was gone.
Yeah.
His wife's been running his criminal operation, and he's decided, I'm going to go legit and, try to consolidate power through official means, and this means he
Mayor
runs
Fisk.
for mayor and
He
wins
gets it. Yeah,
in the first episode.
Yeah, that's a.
Honestly, if you can suspend your disbelief enough to believe that a guy can who everyone knows committed that many crimes can be mayor, which honestly nowadays seems kind of quaint. That's what we're working with here.
Yeah.
Matt is trying to avoid his violent impulses to be Daredevil again, while Fisk is, trying to abuse the system for his own purposes. And Matt is stuck in the position of wondering whether or not the system is actually able to do its job in preventing him from rising to power.
Which is a very good angle.
It is not equipped for that.
Yeah, but it's a very cool angle to look at, honestly.
It isn't the first time that superhero media has tackled stuff like this. Lex Luthor was president in the DC universe for a bit, and in at least one direct-to-video movie they released.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but
Yeah, this show draws a lot from Charles Soule's Daredevil. Charles Soule is, interestingly enough, a lawyer himself.
Oh, really?
Who was tasked with writing Daredevil during a period where he wasn't like a pro bono defense lawyer type guy, but a public prosecutor.
Huh.
And he was the one who wrote Kingpin coming into power as mayor. I don't have a trade paperback of the Mayor Fisk story arc, but it was recently released in a individual trade without like a fat number 6 on it that makes you feel bad for not collecting the rest of Soule's stuff.
Yeah, and I will say the one thing I actually really did like about the series is that it does in some ways connect to the greater MCU a bit more.
I mean, like
than the Netflix shows did.
I mean, a bit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I thought it was cute that, you know, Kamala's dad appeared and was kind of stealth bragging about his daughter with the custom Miss Marvel Funko.
Yeah.
I did find it incredibly funny that Jacques Duquesne from Hawkeye came back and he's in his
Tony Dalton's character.
and he's doing the ridiculous swordsman bit on the side.
Yeah, I mean he was doing that in Hawkeye, to be fair.
Well, I mean, he was doing it, but he wasn't calling himself the swordsman. And I mean, you know, for as much as I say he's ridiculous, his comic counterpart is infinitely more ridiculous because he was turned into a tree and married Mantis.
Huh.
We're not going to get into that.
Fair enough. But it was the one character I'd say, other than Bernthal's Punisher, which is always a nice...
kind of a glorified cameo until the last episode.
Yeah, but the one character that actually really surprised me, Hector Ayala, White Tiger. I thought he was great.
Oh yeah, his actor is like really incredible. I really enjoy him.
I think he passed away though, I think.
White Tiger, the character, was one of Marvel's first Hispanic
He was there first.
Yeah, first Hispanic character.
Yeah, first Hispanic like superhero. They ran backups of him in I think either Amazing or Spectacular Spider-Man.
Okay.
He's since been retired as a character, probably, and that was during the arc of Bendis's Daredevil that this show is adapting, which is relatively direct, actually.
Yeah, what to say.
Relatively. There's obviously changes here and there, especially since they're integrating it with Charles Soule stuff. And also, like, a tiny pinch of Chip Zdarsky Daredevil. That's where the whole Matt, like, really having an "oh God, what have I done" moment after a violent episode comes from.
Yeah.
Though in Zdarsky's case, he's hopped up on painkillers and actually kills a guy.
Oh God. Yeah.
Okay, I checked in. Yes, Camar de los Reyes, the actor for White Tiger, passed away in 2023.
Yes. Rest in peace. He was really good in this show, and. Honestly, it's sad to see, you know, his ultimate fate. There are hints that his character's niece will be more prevalent in the second season.
And not Eva Ayala, surprisingly, because she doesn't exist here.
Angela Del Toro. Eva Ayala was created in like the early 2010s.
Yeah, wasn't she in like Ultimate Spider-Man or something?
Yes, she was in the not Teen Titans group that comprised the main cast of the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah.
Before her, it was Angela Del Toro, who was also Hector Ayala's niece, and that is what this White Tiger, which spins off from Bendis's Daredevil, comes from.
Yep.
Overall, I think what's really holding me back specifically for this show is just like, I've seen this go around, like a couple places have brought it up. I think even TV Tropes brought it up somewhere. So, you know, if you're wondering where I'm getting this, but the middle section feels like it's, actively trying to find reasons for Kingpin and Matt to not interact.
I guess you do bring, that is an interesting point. I never thought of that.
And like, you know, that's fine. Like, conceptually, like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, they don't really need to be in direct conflict all the time,
but
especially when like the subplots, the plots they have going do intersect in some ways. But like, I don't really think Muse is a super compelling antagonist in the interim.
He's got a cool costume though, at least. Definitely scary.
Like, yeah, Muse was a pretty effective antagonist. He also comes from the Charles Soule stuff.
Okay.
And I think he recently appeared in a Charles Soule Carnage book where Eddie Brock is Carnage, but that's
Oh,
neither
yeah.
here nor there.
Yeah. I think a couple things I wanted to bring up. One of which was, so I don't know if you guys remember this, but back when this show was announced, it was supposed to be 18 episodes.
Yeah. There was a lot of. I'm aware.
This feels like a part 1 of 2 sort of thing.
Oh, it's obviously a part 1 of 2. It ends on a cliffhanger. Matt doesn't even get a big denouement climax final fight because Karen tells him, "You're gonna die if you like just go in
Yeah, and I think
half baked."
that seems like, and I was actually talking to Jackson about this on a car ride back from one of the films we saw, and I'm hearing a lot of rumors that season 2, which is coming out I think next March, I believe, I think it's gonna be a Defenders reunion.
I mean, yeah,
Which makes sense.
I mean, like the ending of the show alludes to Matt wanting an army to fight Kingpin because he's instituted martial law.
Yeah, I mean, and also like,
Honestly, I don't really get why he's instituting martial law. I feel like he didn't need to do that to get all the vigilantes. Like, he
Yeah.
already had the task force roaming the streets.
that is true, and
Like, he's just doing this, but with more public scrutiny on himself.
yeah, and also the thing I was gonna say, another aspect I really liked, they liked that they brought in, was it Ben Urich's daughter or
BB Urich.
yeah, BB Urich, or was it his niece or something like that?
I think it was his niece.
Yeah, I mean, it is cool to see that character Ben Urich represented in some capacity. I think it was kind of cool, and the little intersex of the BB report they were kind of cool.
I enjoyed those too. I do, like, I'm all for like this show's power to the people message about the way that the system fails people for like,
Absolutely.
The majority of individuals, whereas it actively protects those in positions of power. And like,
Absolutely.
I get that. It got the message across for me. It's just like the interstitial stuff. Like, I feel like if we, went from like the trial, like the end of Hector Ayala's trial, right into some follow-up, like with Bullseye and the Harbor plot line and stuff like that, then maybe I'd, then maybe I'd like it more. Obviously, you'd have to do some more interstitial stuff, like Matt's girlfriend Heather heavily interacts with Muse in his last episode, and like that kind of leads to her perspective on vigilantes, conflict with her and Matt, her relationship with Fisk, et cetera, leading into a climax. Obviously, you'd have to do some restructuring. It's just like the Muse plotline just was not doing it for me.
Yeah, I will say the only thing
The actor's good.
The actor was good, and the costume is, like I said, it's scary.
Yeah, no, like like the actor's good, and he does. It's just like there's not a whole lot of meat on the bone from where I sit.
No pun intended, because there's a lot of bones breaking in this show.
The
action was
I
brutal.
needed a good transition to talk about the action, and
It is brutal.
I mean, it's brutal.
It can be particularly like,
when you can see half of it.
yeah, absolutely, like him breaking an arm and like him literally jumping on someone's knees, just breaking both of them. Like that.
I mean,
that's one of those moments where like, oh God, that was brutal.
Okay, I might, you might be surprised by this, but I was not a fan of the action in this.
Really?
Like, okay, superficial brutality only means as much as your actual like choreography, and when you're doing a lot of fast cuts on action, that really makes it hard for any individual hit to sell well.
I guess that is
it
a
doesn't
good
really
point.
matter how many bones you break or how much blood there is.
How it's presented is
Like, I gotta, like, it's gotta feel kinetic. And honestly, the only times it was feeling kinetic was when Bullseye was just being funny in that first scene, where he was just kind of like shanking dudes with whatever was around, because that's what Bullseye does.
yeah. I mean, it's his powers. He's accurate.
Well, no, Bullseye doesn't have powers. He just, like, he will just, like, throw anything around him and see if he can kill people with it. Like, he's not allowed to have solid food in prison because they're worried he'd use, like, something as a weapon.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like honestly, the best brutal moment in the show is,
Bullseye's action.
the tooth moment.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You
And
know,
that's
if you know,
brutal.
you know.
Yeah, let's just put it at that. And
like at some points it kind of gets gratuitous. Like, I don't know if we needed that final scene with Kingpin and that one guy. If you know, you know.
yeah, but let's let's just. Is there anything else, or is that?
Well, I mean, like, we covered story, like, characters-wise, we haven't really discussed Matt himself, actually.
Yeah, I guess.
Matt and Kingpin are basically, like, the two co-leads in this show,
Yeah.
and, like, I will fully disclose, I have not seen Netflix Daredevil. Have you?
I finished the third season in preparation, all the seasons in preparation.
Okay,
for
so we're
this.
coming at this from two different angles.
Yeah.
Did you think he was congruous? Did you think, like, Matt and Fisk matched up with where they left off?
I would say so. I mean, if you watch the end of season 3, you definitely he said like you will not like reveal my secret, and so far he's lived up to that promise actually.
Yeah, no, honestly, that's kind of funny because he's kind of sadistic about it in this show too.
Yeah, I mean, so he's on the verge. It definitely looks like.
Yeah, no, Matt is Matt, like I do feel like with this first half being so long, apparently because like the first screenings went over kind of poorly, so they added stuff. Like initially they didn't show Foggy killed or explain where Karen went, but they added stuff in to fix that and then made it just half a season. Matt, it feels sometimes like, I'm not one of those guys who's like, oh, he has to always be in the costume kicking butt or whatever.
No, of course he doesn't.
Because, a lot of people like the legal angle of Matt, but sometimes it does feel like it's spinning its wheels, and it's like, the show is going to end up with him being Daredevil again anyway, so it kind of feels like the point is being a bit belabored. I have brought up to some friends that it almost, in some cases, feels like this was at one point going to be a revised origin story where Matt's gradual lessening of faith in the system is what led him to becoming Daredevil. But that's not what we have here.
Yeah,
like I said, that's just a theory. Take it with a grain of salt. I am not saying that's what they did.
Yeah, it's purely just it's purely just a sequel series.
Fisk, I don't know. I wasn't super engaged by him. Like, D'Onofrio's like D'Onofrio and all.
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
But I don't know. Like I feel like I was meant to have a more clear impression on what he was about. Like, is he really a law and order guy? Like, obviously he has ulterior.
He is complicated.
Obviously he has ulterior motives, right?
Yes.
Obviously a significant portion of this is just to like enrich criminal enterprises and stuff. But like, when it comes to like political commentary, I don't really know what angle he as a character is coming from, and it doesn't really feel like that ambiguity is 100% intentional.
I agree, but hopefully,
and on the subject of political commentary, I gotta bring up the Punisher cops, which is a real world thing that actually happens. Like cops who like tattoo themselves with Punisher skulls or put it on their gear. Yeah, no, that's a real thing that a lot of cops and like army service members do. I will not comment on the potential motivators for why they do this.
Yeah, because that's a whole other topic.
I just feel like, if we're going to be positioning Frank himself in opposition to these guys, like, this is heavily second season dependent because it's an incomplete story right now.
Yeah,
but they need to ride a very careful line with not endorsing like Frank himself fully, which they don't do here, thankfully.
Yeah.
Because like Frank is not a good guy.
Yeah, he's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to wrap up this little section.
A lot of my problems, I'm a comic guy, as you can see.
Yeah, obviously.
So, I don't really like it when a lot of people judge comics based on, an incomplete story, especially when that story is slow-paced. So I'm going to try avoid casting too much judgment. This isn't a waste of time show.
Absolutely, it's definitely not, and I think
a lot of whether or not this is going to be a truly good or great show is really going to depend on that second season come next year.
Yeah, and that's coming out in March of 2026, and I believe it was actually confirmed that Jessica Jones is going to be in the show.
Honestly, that's cool. It's going to be nice getting to recommend some of her stuff next year.
100%, yeah. I think and that's probably going to be around April of...
More Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah, April of 2026 we'll review that because it'll probably be done by then, so...
Aside from that, I think that was a pretty comprehensive look.
Yeah, and I think I heard something that's only going to be 8 episodes and not 9 episodes, which is actually pretty interesting. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that plays out. So, that being said, what would you rate the show 1 to 10? 0 to 10?
3 to 3.5.
5 stars?
Well, that would be like a 7.
Oh,
flat 7 for me.
I would say it's 7.5 for me, honestly.
All right.
So I guess we got to wrap up this
All
segment.
right, and just in case you were interested in Daredevil, we have Daredevil Born Again by Frank Miller. Again, the show does not adapt this story. It's just called that. They actually adapted it in Daredevil Season 3 of the Netflix show.
That is correct.
We have Bendis' Daredevil, which covers a lot of stuff like the White Tiger on trial and Matt eventually having his identity revealed to the public. We have Chip Zdarsky, which deals with the fallout of Matt killing a man on accident. For the Kingpin specifically, we have, well, here's the thing. If you want Kingpin and Bullseye content, just read any of the big classic Daredevil runs. They always show up. But if you're looking for solo content, Matt Rosenberg's Kingpin is a good thing that serves as a prelude to the Mayor Fisk stuff where he's rehabilitating his public image. We have Bullseye, which is just him being a little funny scamp or whatever. And Daniel Way's Bullseye is also all right, I guess. We have Greg Rucka's Punisher, Greg Rucka being an acclaimed Batman writer and Detective Comics writer who brings sort of like an urban noir vibe to it. We have Garth Ennis's Punisher Nights, and
that's the Vietnam one, right?
Well, no, Garth Ennis does a lot of Punisher stuff. So he's done Punisher in the war. He's done Punisher on the streets. He's done Punisher without the rest of the Marvel Universe in the form of Punisher Max, which most people think is his magnum opus. Neither here nor there. This one has him fighting a polar bear.
Oh, wow. That's something. And we also have White Tiger.
And White Tiger, which follows Angela Del Toro. And I know that's not Hector, but I didn't have any Hector books.
Fair enough. So we're going to wrap up this segment, but don't go anywhere because our next segment is going to be about something a little bit more spooky and very highly acclaimed, by the way. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. We are the cast of The Spectrum Show, and for our next Spectrum of Opinions discussion, we're going to be talking about Warner Bros.' recently released horror juggernaut Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler. So, Spencer, what is your spectrum of opinions on this film?
Honestly, this film was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed this film.
That's the ones we're reviewing this. That's the stuff we're reviewing this month. Like
100%.
Easily.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler did a fantastic job with this film.
Ryan Coogler is like proving that he's just got it.
Yeah, he's just got.
I'm honestly very excited for Ironheart now.
Yeah.
I mean, technically he's in a producer role on that, but I assume that like game knows games, so to speak.
Yeah. But honestly, so why don't we go into the story to start things off? So
I mean, we could sit here just vaguely rambling about all the good things about it, and but
we have a time limit.
Yeah, we have a time limit.
I literally have a time limit set.
So Sinners primarily focuses on Smoke and Stack, twin brothers, both played by Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, let's say, hey, if there are two characters in a movie being played by the same actor.
Yes. Who are, what were they trying to open again?
It was a juke joint.
Yeah, they're trying to open a juke joint.
Basically just like a dance and music hall with, with food and alcohol.
Yeah, they're trying to open that. They buy the land from this,
a white landowner.
Who is
they're all but directly stated to have mob connections, and they come back from Chicago with a bunch of money and buy this old rundown sawmill from a white landowner and begin rounding up people
for the grand opening.
Yeah, for the grand opening.
They got music. They get other kind of performers too.
Lot of things.
In the process, Stack reunites with his white passing former paramour, played by Haley Steinfeld.
Who was great in this, I think.
Which I actually didn't know this about the film. She is playing a character who is one-eighth black, right?
1/8, which
is actually accurate to real life, surprisingly.
Really?
Haley Steinfeld actually does have 1/8 African American ancestry, which by the 1/8 rule would make her legally black around that time period.
Anyways, but yeah, things go quite awry.
In the process, Smoke also reunites with his ex-wife after the death of their child broke them apart.
And played by Wunmi Mosaku from Loki.
And Wunmi Mosaku was really good in this.
She really was.
Yeah, she was. And the two also bring in the local son of a preacher to play blues guitar at the juke joint, and he's really the star attraction there when they
Oh
finally
my-
get it opened.
Oh my God, that guy
I
can
really,
sing.
I really like that. I really like that actor they got.
Yeah.
He's he's really
Like
understated in this.
like they open the place and it's bustling, and like they've kind of got a rainbow coalition going. They've got like the local caterers like helping them run
Everything
the thing.
seems to be going fine and
Yeah,
dandy.
and then the preacher's kid, like, he breaks out his guitar, and in a sequence that I am absolutely not going to spoil this particular musical sequence because it really is something else. Like, we're
Yeah.
pretty liberal with spoilers here, but that's something you have to see to believe. And if you didn't watch this in IMAX, you missed out.
Yeah, I saw it in Dolby, which is pretty close. Which I mean, close enough, I guess.
But the other shoe is going to drop. Aside from that, so if you're not here for that and you don't want to like get into the real meat of this movie until you're sat down and watching it, leave now. 3, 2, 1. It's vampires.
I'd watch an
Yeah.
entire movie about those Native American guys.
Yeah, the Native American guys who were hunting down Jack O'Connell.
They're super cool, and they're only in it for like a single scene. I'm like, I'd watch an entire spin-off of you.
But yeah, vampires like
Vampires are like mystical creatures who are attracted and they're-
Attracted specifically by the
So, like,
preacher son's music.
Yeah, the preacher's son's music, which is just that good.
Established at the
It
start.
really
of the,
is
established at the start of the movie to be part of like
a mystical persuasion.
yeah, a type of music that could like connect the living and the dead.
Past,
Yeah.
future, yada yada yada.
but honestly, like the music in this film is fantastic.
I mean, it's a film that's like as much about music and what it means to that specific time and place and how that carries down to
100%.
now.
Oh yeah, especially.
And the vampires in this context, when they begin attacking and converting people at the juke joint, end up representing a sort of cultural assimilationist type of thing where they essentially want in on a specific aspect of like these guys' culture and want to forcibly like integrate it. And the film goes out of its way to show there's comfort in that and there's safety in that, especially since they live in a pre-civil rights era South.
It's also interesting in how the technical leader of the vampires isn't he?
He's Irish. Oh, he's
Yeah.
explicitly Irish.
really?
Yeah, he's explicitly
yeah,
an Irish
And
immigrant.
if you know
which
your
is-
history, like Irish people were, even like among
Irish
like
and
the social hierarchy, Irish people were not the kind of white people you wanted to be.
Irish and Italian people were heavily discriminated
Yeah.
against.
Purely for we're talking purely from a historical standpoint, just to make that clear.
Yeah, and that's that plays into interesting angles of the assimilationist narrative because like the first vampire is from a group that had an easier time like integrating into white society.
Yeah, but
in that time period.
Yeah, and I just want to say, one thing I will say about this movie, yes, it's definitely, it can be scary at times. It's a horror movie,
Oh
of
yeah,
course.
I mean,
But I
like,
wouldn't say it's like flat out like horror, like something like, I don't know, Final Destination or something could freak the crap out of me.
I mean,
but
I've seen comparisons to that old Tarantino movie From Dusk Till Dawn, which starts out as kind of like a crime thriller sort of thing before like they all go to this really wild bar and it turns out there's a bunch of vampires there.
yeah, but what I'm saying is like it's not gonna be. I wouldn't say this is the scariest movie of all time. No question.
Well, I mean, I don't really think it's going for like
Yeah,
pure
it's meant for a
scares.
good. If you're going for a horror movie like this, you go for the story, basically.
If
Well, yeah,
anything,
no,
I'm fascinated by how funny this movie
Yeah,
is.
no,
able
it
to
starts
be.
yeah, like it can be really funny at times.
It starts
actually.
out as a historical drama, like starts ramping up like the terror and scariness, and then fully like commits to horror action by the end.
Yeah, and
it
really
is
did a good
funny.
job. Yeah,
It's a funny movie.
Who played that one guy again?
I don't-
The other blues singer.
Yeah, the other blues singer. I
Oh.
really like him.
Yeah, he brought the comedic energy, and that was really
Yeah, no,
good.
he's really good. Like basically everyone in this movie is like on point, on their A game. This is like for the preacher's son. This is a star-making like thing.
100%.
I
I mean,
really hope
it
he's
should
in more
be.
stuff.
And
yeah.
honestly, I'm so upset I did not see this in IMAX. I'm so mad about that.
Yeah, and like, and it does each of the tones it does very well. Like when it's like
100%.
doing the historical drama thing, there's like a lot, like, the sets and like the locations all look fantastic. Like when we're moving into like the horror angle, like
It brings the scares.
it brings the scares and the creep factor really well. There's a lot of, like, I really, really love like the way they, portray the vampires and like how the way their eyes shine as they're about
That
to
was
move in.
great.
I
for
love
kill.
the detail that he plays by the vampire rule of they can't enter a house unless you invite them in.
Yeah, no, they really get their mileage and drama out of that.
And like they change it, they kind of make it like initially it's kind of more like a seemingly funny thing that slowly becomes
It's like, this is not good.
Oh, this is terrifying actually.
And, yeah, and
And like at some points it makes you wonder, well, you just gotta not go out, but like these are some scary vampires that
Yes.
can really worm their way into your head.
Yeah, these are persuasive, worryingly so vampires.
Yeah, and one last thing before we wrap up, because we only got a minute. When we get to award season next year, do we think this is gonna win anything?
Oh, this is gonna be like,
This is gonna sweep awards.
This is gonna be
both
one
from
of the
us
things
and in
to beat.
actual awards.
One of
Yes,
the
I
only
agree.
movie that I've seen this year that really compares in terms of like direct prestige would be something like, say, 28 Years Later,
Yeah.
which incidentally also stars Jack O'Connell.
Oh,
I'm not
God,
going
right.
to spoil his role in that because it's wild.
God.
But if you know, you know.
But yeah,
But
I was gonna ask if we could get into the ending, but I don't think we really need to.
there are two post-credit scenes. By
I
the
think
way.
the ending stuff worked really well, especially in the context of the themes of music.
And
Yeah.
and also like certain types of assimilation, and the way like some characters like the vampire metaphor in this is kind of a metaphor for a lot of different kinds of assimilation, up to and including selling out, like musically.
Yeah, like that's like the whole thing is just crazy, and I absolutely loved it.
Like you could write multiple thesis papers on this. It's a deep well.
Yeah. So to wrap up, what are we ranking this 0 to 10? Where are we
Like
putting
this is like a 9 to a 10.
I say it's like 9.5 for me. Yeah.
I'm just gonna straight up give it a flat 10 of the year, and just this, not to spoil too much, but this might be up for live action film of the year for Spectrum Awards.
Might
2020.
be.
I'm just saying. You know what? Screw it. It definitely is.
This is our first like locked in nominee of the year.
This is a guaranteed nomination, by the way.
It's way ahead of Oscar season though.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say right now, Sinners, you're Spectrum Show certified. Should we do that from now on?
You've seen those box office numbers. I don't think they need our help.
Yeah,
certainly
honestly, like this made it for a very long time at the theaters. Like it was
an original movie too. Like that's
An
really
original
impressive
movie
nowadays.
that Coogler is going to fully own after like a relatively short
100%.
amount of
Did
time.
they say there's already like a sequel being considered or something?
think-
like
I
that?
don't
with
think-
all
I
the
don't-
money it made, definitely.
I heard something that it's apparently they said it doesn't need a sequel. I don't think.
Or is it just going to be like one of those extended universe?
Like
type
I said,
things?
like I said, Coogler, if you're willing to either like produce or direct that movie about the Native American vampire hunters, I will be there day one.
No.
Same.
And honestly, if there's anything, this proves that Coogler should just do Blade at this point for
Those
the
guys-
MCU.
Oh my God, he could have just done Blade.
Like it's right there, and honestly, Marvel's probably looking at this and like, maybe he could do something good.
I mean, I think their reaction to it is less that and more
Why didn't we get him?
yeah.
for Blade?
frustration.
yeah,
Frustration.
I'm sure. Yeah, but anyways,
Yeah, let's wrap up.
Yeah,
but
so-
yeah, that was a really good movie.
that was a fantastic movie, and I think we need to wrap up because we have one more review to get through, and it's wraps up a series of reviews we've done over the years. Actually.
It's a wrap up of our series of recent retro reviews, so
Yeah,
stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll be right back, folks. Welcome back, everyone. We are the cast of The Spectrum Show, and it's time for our last Spectrum of Opinions discussion for this episode. This time we'll be discussing the recently re-released.
Recently re-released.
Thank you. Star Wars film that celebrated its 20th anniversary this year, specifically Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh my
This
God,
will-
it was 20 years ago.
And this will wrap up our prequel film discussion for the Star Wars films. We'll probably do the original ones at some point. too.
feels like 20 years ago to me.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways, Jackson, what are your spectrum of opinions on this film?
Well, this is the best of the prequel trilogy, and
No competition.
That's not really I'd say that's less of a compliment and more damnation with faint praise.
But it's also no competition either.
Yeah, this is like this is the only one it seemed like they actually tried on.
Yes.
I like Phantom Menace in a weird way, but also
Same.
like this is clearly the movie that was like, oh, okay, George, we're getting in the studio and actually interfering a little.
Yeah, but basically,
George, you can't write all these racial stereotypes into the script again.
Anyways, before we get into the actual story, I do want to say for the 20th anniversary re-release, they had a special intro when I went to see it.
It was Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, from Hayden Christensen. Yeah,
that was pretty nice.
Yeah,
of them.
that was actually really smart of them to do that because
I'm kind of glad he's been re-embraced by Star Wars fans.
100%. Yeah, I really do like that. But anyway, story.
Similar to how like Ahmed Best has kind of gotten back into the good graces. It's nice, you know.
Yeah, but story.
Anyways,
Give it to me.
Revenge of the Sith is the third installment in the prequel trilogy
And the final
installment, and the third out of 9 movies in the Star Wars Skywalker saga. Following the events of the last 2 films, Anakin and Obi-Wan, after rescuing Chancellor Palpatine, secretly Darth Sidious, from a separatist Sith blockade,
From Count Dooku and General Grievous specifically.
the chain of events that leads to the fall of Anakin and the rise of Darth Vader start to fully play into place.
Yeah.
In addition to the end of the Clone Wars and the start of the Galactic Empire.
Yeah, that's correct. And let's just say this: when this film opens up, it's the strongest opening of all the films.
Oh, this has a really good opening out of the prequels. Yeah.
Yeah,
like the best one.
Yeah.
The stuff on it's also a really good Lego Star Wars level. I know I brought that up.
Yeah.
I brought that up a lot in the Attack of the Clones review, and I'm probably gonna do it again here because it was my first exposure to it. But that is a really fun level, except for the part where I was a dumb child and could not tell where the elevator vents were coming up in their escape scene. I died so many times on that. Okay, but moving on.
But I loved them.
Yeah, the opening's really fun. It's just Anakin and Obi-Wan kind of being piloting into the blockade. We get like this nice above Coruscant. Coruscant from the sky always has looked really cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. From space specifically.
I'd love to see like a more
realistic
set in the future Star Wars project, like do a kind of Coruscant return to.
That would be
where
cool,
it's like
honestly.
super desolate and abandoned after the fall of the Galactic Empire. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, but then we get
them crashing half a ship in barely surviving that.
Another happy landing.
Also, Dooku gets.
Well, we know the rest.
Yeah.
He gets unalived.
This is probably the best performance Hayden Christensen gave in these 3 movies. I'm going to be completely honest.
I'd agree
in these
with
2
that.
movies, I'm going to be completely honest.
I'd 100% agree with that.
Like he feels like he has more of a script to work with here than he did in Attack of the Clones, where he was just
not good. But anyways, but
in terms of the person who is actually pulling their weight, really, the people who are pulling their weight really hard here, Ewan McGregor and Ian McDiarmid, really strong in this movie.
McGregor is always on par in the Star Wars films.
McGregor is a great Obi-Wan. I genuinely do really like him. He's like the part of the prequels which I would argue is a big part of the reason why anyone even likes those movies.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be the first to admit, just steering away from the story for a little bit. Honestly, I remember going into Phantom Menace, and we talked about this on the show, but I remember liking Phantom Menace more when I rewatched it in theaters.
I enjoyed Phantom Menace more on the feeder rewatch,
But this one, I feel like it was about the same, I'd say.
This one's about the same, and Attack of the Clones was just me remembering, this movie is as bad as I remember it was.
But the point but let's talk about the action, because this feels like the strongest, like one of the strongest Star Wars
This
films.
has a very funny bit of Anakin and Obi-Wan just spinning their lightsabers against nothing, but other than that, it is a very... I think, then again, my favorite action scene in that final part of the movie is the Palpatine Yoda fight anyways.
Yeah, but let's be real here. Like, before we get to that, we had to talk about Order 66. That's insanity. Like, I mean,
it's honestly like I felt like it had a decent impact, but like not as strong as it would be the first time you see it.
Yeah,
I
remember some people in the theater who I was sitting next to. Some people were like, "Oh my God, how have I not seen this before?"
I also think what fascinates me more about Order 66 is less how it's presented in that movie and more how supplementary media has approached it.
Yeah, like the shows and whatnot and stuff.
Yeah, stuff like Star Wars Rebels with Kanan and his and the prequel comics of that, Kanan the Last Padawan.
Yeah.
And other related stuff like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor are another good example of this.
Okay.
They play heavily into what the state of the Jedi Order is after the rise of the Galactic Empire and Order 66.
Yeah, and
But yeah, Order 66 is something that I feel is done well in the movie, but it's something you really only feel the true impact of when you've kind of seen more of how it spreads across like the tie-in media.
Yeah, and honestly, like and this feels like the most Star Warsy of the prequels, I will say, because we see like Chewbacca gets a minor cameo in it.
Chewbacca's cameo in it is still really funny. Like I just don't even know.
Didn't get a ton of
He doesn't
screen
even
time.
have to be there really. Like it just feels kind of funny that he's there at all.
I think it's because they had to go to Kashyyyk for something, I think.
But in because you don't need to have Chewbacca. You've established Wookiees exist. You could just have Wookiees there. Like, you didn't need to name drop. You didn't need to have, like, Chewbacca be there, pretty much do nothing except get name dropped by Yoda, and then he leaves.
I think people could tell it was him, to be fair. I mean...
Then again, then he still said the guy's name out loud. Like, goodbye, Chewbacca, in a way that sounds like, oh, you're supposed to recognize that.
But also...
It's a movie for kids.
Yeah, but also, like... what did we think about the General Grievous fight? Like,
General Grievous is such a fraud. It's so funny.
not as good, better than the Clone Wars.
Amazingly better. Your review.
Yes, but yeah, he's
far better in
Clone
additional media. In this movie, he is a total punk, and it's very funny.
Yeah, but
I do love the scene where he explodes, though. That scene is amazing.
Yeah, like, I don't think so. But anyways, final battle. Oh my God. Like, that's the part that was worth seeing in
I do
theaters
want to
again.
talk a bit about the the stuff with Anakin's betrayal of the Jedi Order before that.
Okay,
we already discussed in Attack of the Clones that it feels like Anakin is way too sympathetic to fascism in that movie.
He just is in this.
Yeah, I actually feel like this movie did a somewhat better job of trying to balance that, though it was more a too little too late thing.
Yeah, I
with
guess
what
so.
had been established in the prior two. They at least tried to add a bit more to his relationship with Sidious and what it kind of meant to him in this context. But despite that, yeah, like I said, it's kind of too little too late. Like, Attack of the Clones could have really benefited from
More of
actually
that.
fleshing him out more, at least showing him a bit more indecisive on this.
Yeah, but yeah, the
But
final battle.
I do really like the Palpatine versus Windu fight. That is a really well done scene, just in general.
But in the Palpatine versus Yoda fight are good too.
Fun fact: that is the main battle arena I played on Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga's multiplayer mode with.
Oh.
Like, they had a 2-player dual mode essentially, and one of the options is the Senate. And why would you not play on the Senate? It's funny.
But let's be real. I think it's pretty unanimously agreed upon that Anakin versus Obi-Wan is the best fight in the Star Wars saga.
No.
Really?
No, not really. Like, I get that the fight has a lot of emotional weight to it, but at
Yeah.
the same time, there's a lot about it. I feel like there's quite a few other duels to me that feel both emotionally impactful and I can better read the action involved in them.
Yeah.
Like, the action, a lot of the people have criticized the prequels more recently for how a lot of their lightsaber battles are overly flourishy and don't really kind of get to the point of a lightsaber fight in the way the original
for visual effects.
yeah, in the way the original movies did. And I feel like there are definitely stronger, and if anything, I would say the strongest fight in the Star Wars series would be Vader versus Luke in Episode 5.
Okay.
Which is
interesting.
and
it is an iconic one for sure.
my runner-up would be Kylo versus Luke in Episode 8, by the way. All I'm saying.
Fair enough. But honestly, I think that
It is a well-done final fight scene, but I will my thing is it suffers from a lot of the problems prequel lightsaber duels tend to have.
yeah, and we just gotta wrap up on a few
If
things.
anything, I think I like the Episode 1 final battle more, but
Yeah, it does feel like it has more of an impact in the story, but I will say I think the ending, after the Jedi Order disperses, I think the impact of the fact that they have no dialogue for the last bunch of scenes is I think it's really cool, honestly.
What do you know? When Lucas doesn't have his characters babbling about nonsense, the movie is really interesting.
We see Leia and Luke go to their respective homes, and it kind of mirrors like when Luke was in Tatooine.
Yeah, they have the final shot. Of course they do.
Yeah,
they wouldn't waste that. And then they have, of course, Anakin fully becoming Vader with the armor for the first time.
Yeah, and
his extremely funny no.
Yeah, but I think we all know enough about that. To be fair, I think, and that was obviously James Earl Jones, rest in peace, of course.
Yeah. So what would you give this movie?
6.5 to a 7, maybe.
I'd say that's around the range I settle at.
Yeah, because
this isn't anywhere near an 8 for me. I would say, but
it's definitely the best of the prequels for sure.
I mean, it's not really a competition.
Yeah,
this one feels like a real movie.
It does, and it's just
my scale, as I've mentioned, is real movie, Revenge of the Sith, not a real movie but extremely funny, Phantom Menace.
Terrible.
I hate watching it, Attack of the Clones.
Fair enough. So, I think, is there anything else we need to talk about, or we've been just rambling on way too long?
I think we're good and can move into some of the recommendations. I know Sean brought in his for Daredevil. I have a few for Star Wars, actually.
So yes.
We're going to start with Star Wars Obi-Wan and Anakin, written by Charles Soule and drawn by Marco Schetto, the same artist as that Daredevil run, actually, and the Punisher one by Greg Rucka. This follows Obi-Wan and Anakin during the gap between Episode 1 and Episode 2. Focuses a lot on their relationship, and at the same time expands Anakin's relationship with Palpatine.
Oh.
Next up, no, we're going in kind of chronological.
Okay.
Next up, we have Mace Windu, which is a more recent miniseries. I believe it's the most recent book out of these three. Written by Mark Bernardin and drawn by George Gianti. Mm-hmm. This is a standalone story focused on Mace Windu. It's not his first miniseries, actually. He has 2 from the Marvel canon. But this is just kind of like a solo Mace story, and I know a lot of people like him in Revenge of the Sith, so I decided to bring this in. Also, it's by a all-black creative team, which is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
And finally, we have Darth Vader by Greg Pak. This is one of the 3 Darth Vader ongoings Marvel made. This is notable among the 3. Well, actually, it's not really notable among the 3. Well, I didn't have Soul's Darth Vader, so I couldn't bring that in as well. But Pak Darth Vader is notable for directly following up a lot of the elements of the prequel trilogy, namely in regards to Vader's impact on Naboo, and focuses a lot on the intro arc on the Amidalans, an order of Naboo residents, handmaidens, pilots, etc., who seek revenge on Darth Vader for the deaths of Padme and, they believe, Anakin.
Yeah, well...
There is also, I don't have it on hand, but there is also Star Wars Darth Vader by Charles Soule, also known as Dark Heart of the Sith. Oh wait, no, that's Dark Heart of the Sith. Star Wars by Charles Soule, Imperial Machine, which is set right after Episode 3, and follows Darth Vader's earliest missions as the Emperor's right-hand man, hunting down Order 66 survivors, building the Empire, and all that.
Yeah, so
there actually is quite a lot to read if you are interested in expanding on the elements Revenge of the Sith presented, and if you're interested in Mace Windu.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap up this episode because we've been going on
I had fun with this discussion, though, so thank you for that.
Yeah, so
I'm glad we got to end our Star Wars prequel trilogy on a relative high note, and I'm honestly quite excited if we do the other ones. That might be Patreon content.
Maybe next year for May the 4th we'll do the original trilogy.
I mean, it could also be Patreon content for this year.
Oh wait,
we'll see.
we have a Star Wars review next year in May. We have a Mandalorian and Grogu.
Oh my God! Right, that movie's coming out.
Yeah, so
where they bring back Rada to trick me.
Anyways, we're gonna wrap up this discussion. We're gonna take one last break to wrap up. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Well, guys, I think we've had one heck of a start to Summer Spectrum. What do you guys think?
No, I mean, it's a lot.
It is. Yeah, it's certainly a lot.
Oh,
so
man.
that.
Yeah, I can't really say much beyond what Sean said.
It's some interesting stuff though, some highs and some lows.
Yeah, but hopefully, next month will probably be at least a little bit stronger, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's
we
hope
got
so.
Thunderbolts coming up, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Thunderbolts is next.
We'll have Thunder. Yeah. So maybe we should actually tell you guys what we got coming up next. We're gonna have Thunderbolts / the New Avengers. Spoiler alert. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning and Karate Kid Legends. So we got to do all. We have 3 action-packed.
remember that movie
I mean, is it really a spoiler to call Thunderbolts the New Avengers when they were blasting that advertising
Well,
out?
yes, that's true at this point.
Honestly, Sean, I'm more scared about having to talk about Karate Kid Legends again.
Look, I have to talk about the amateur. I have to talk about the amateur.
The
You have
Amateur
to
was
talk
probably a
about-
better movie.
Honestly,
Okay, well, let's just wrap this up, okay? Thanks.
So that being said, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as we had making it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, a friendly comment, share this video with your family and friends, and subscribe to our YouTube channel with notifications on so we don't miss any of the content we put out.
feel free to follow us on Facebook, Threads, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitch. Join our Discord server. Become a member on Patreon for $1 per month to get access to exclusive content. Keep an eye out for our upcoming BlueSky coming later this year.
Which, yeah, that's been taking way too long. And also, stay tuned to our next episode because the movies may not be the best, but the action itself is going to be taken up to 11. So that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Until our next time,
Good night, everybody.